What has the president of Burkina Faso done this time around? No more elections in Burkina Faso until 2029, and they have taken the bold decision to scrap electoral commission in Burkina Faso. What is the reason why Captain Ibrahim Traore is scrapping electoral commission in Burkina Faso? We have been controlled by Western leaders for decades, for years, for centuries, and then we are not wising up. No more elections. Is Ibrahim Traore going to hold power forever? What is going on? This man is doing something different in Burkina Faso. I can boldly and confidently see that Captain Ibrahim Traore is the leader that have emerged or surfaced in Africa that no other leader can be compared to him. Captain Ibrahim Traore is that man who is just different from all other African leaders, and now a lot of countries hate Captain Ibrahim Traore. This is the whole thing. A lot of people argue and say that it's a plan or it's a plot for this gentleman to stay in power forever. That is not what it means. This is the reality. Captain Ibrahim Traore scrapping electoral commission in Burkina Faso. He said, or he cited, that the electoral commission of Burkina Faso is not independent. You get what I'm talking about? It's not independent, and then it is costing the country. It is costing the country, and it is not independent, because looking at the process involved every year, the money that goes into the electoral commission and buying of printing of ballot papers and a whole lot of things to conduct an election, it is something that Captain Ibrahim Traore sees it like it is burdening the economy. And due to that, no, he said, let's scrap it off. No more electoral commission in Burkina Faso. But what is new? People saying that this gentleman want to stay in power forever. That is not what it means. Captain Ibrahim Traore is not trying to stay in power forever. But then he promised the people of Burkina Faso that he is going to give power to the people. But then he want to come and change things that have spoiled, things that have gone astray. He is coming to put them back in place and shaping the country into his good standing before handing power back to the people. That is what Captain Ibrahim Traore have, made his mind. He have decided to do. This is the time that Africa needs to actually stand on its feet, taking bold decisions. Captain Ibrahim Traore has decided that, okay, now, if our resources used to be controlled by you, this is the time we're going to take back our resources. That is what Captain Ibrahim Traore is doing differently. And then Western leaders, are eyeing this gentleman. A lot of people, trying to kill him, because so many coup attempts on this gentleman, so many assassinations on Captain Ibrahim Traore's life, just in the name that this gentleman is not allowing Western leaders to function in his country. This gentleman is trying to change the narrative. This gentleman is trying to educate the people of Africa. He want to enlighten the people of Africa that, look, we can actually grow, we can be big, we can be that economy that we want to be, we can be that Africa that we want to build without Western support. So due to that, a lot of Western leaders' eyes are on this gentleman, Captain Ibrahim Traore. So there is pressure on him, people trying to kill him, assassinations, coup attempts. You cannot even count of what is going on when it comes to this gentleman. And so many attacks, terrorists coming after him. Conversations that we've been hearing about this gentleman tells us that he is trying to enlighten Africa. He's trying to tell Africa that, look, this is the way. But then the bad guys don't want you to see that. So since this gentleman is seeing the way, he want to lead Africa forward, he want to let Africa be mentioned, he want to let Africa control its resources, they say no, let's go after him. Let's deal with him. Let's bring him down so that we can have our way. Because this gentleman, on coming to power, he decided to let Western troops leave his country. No more Western rule. The West doesn't have any control in Burkina Faso. But then in other African countries, we can talk about how Western leaders influence and control our countries. Unlike what is going on in Burkina Faso, the president is exceptionally different, and he is working on different dimensions, trying to pull the country forward, bring change, and establish development. That is what Captain Ibrahim Traore is working on. But if you come to look at, compare other African leaders to Captain Ibrahim Traore, you're definitely going to fish out and know that our leaders have been influenced by the Western leaders. But then Captain Ibrahim Traore is that different guy who decided to say, oh, I can do it myself. I don't need your support. Give me sanctions, whatever you want to call it. I don't care, but I want to live on my own. I want to make something actually happen. So Captain Ibrahim Traore, to the point that he is even trying to move out of ECOWAS, not only him, Niger and Mali, they were trying to pull out of ECOWAS simply because ECOWAS was trying to give sanctions on them. And they said, look, you can place what the hell sanctions you have on us, but then as far as we know, it's either we leave ECOWAS or you accept what we want. And then up till date, that case is still pending. But then the three countries have decided to build on their own, structure on their own, and form their alliance. That is the change that Africa actually needs. This is the time. This is the future. We have been controlled by Western leaders for decades, for years, for centuries, and then we are not wising up. Because Africa have the resources. Africa have everything that it needs to grow. Africa have things that it needs to, be that powerful economy. But then we decided to sell out our resources. We go to give our resources and beg for money, go for loans, and then there is pressure on our economy. Our people suffer, no job, no employment, and a lot of pressure mounts on Africans. Africa seems to be the poorest continent in the world because that is what actually it means. Unlike other countries, you see development, you see white collar jobs and all that. And then to the extent that Africans want to move out of the country and travel to the west, go and seek for greener pastures, white collar jobs, and many more. But then this should be the time that Africa need to come up. This should be the time that Africa need to wise. This should be the time that Africa need to think of alternatives. Must we always sell our resources for money? Must we always let the West control our economy? Because if you go to other African countries, you gotta see that the West control the resources. They mine, they take everything, they extract everything, and they give us a percentage. Imagine in my country, I have my resources, you come to extract and you give me a percentage. Now I need to give you that percentage. You need to work for me and I decide what to give you. Basically, that is how African countries need to control their resources. But then in our case, we decided to let them come and control our resources just with a peanut of money, and now giving us a percentage. We cannot develop our country. Without Africa, where is resources? Look, we gotta be real. Focusing on how we can improve our country, working on how to establish changes and to improve the youth.